and decided not to use his sirens.
Yeah.
Just that attracted the attention of the media, and a viral video was created of a police officer sitting in his vehicle, somebody who has the entitlement and indeed the equipment on top of his vehicle to beat traffic if he wished to do so. But he decided to sit in traffic. Just that simple act marked him as an atypical police officer. He's not your typical police officer. And there is an expectation that with somebody of his caliber at the helm of affairs as IGP, there is an expectation of a rather different face to the police service.
And the thing about it is, if you know anything about Dr. Dampare, he has been tipped to be IGP for so long. For those who know him and have studied the security architecture, there's always a suggestion that he is next in line, and it doesn't happen. And of course, then people start questioning, but why? I mean, he's just so fine. And as I say, the time is now just right. And it's a perfect timing. And you have to, again, once you get a confirmation, this is something that the president must also take credit for. Because obviously, to understand the times you're in and make an appointment that suits the time, it's a skill that a leader must have. And for me, that is something that needs to be, it's a part of the bigger conversation now, is understanding that we're at a point in time when that relationship that you need between the police and the citizenry, so you can win against this latest surge in crime, is critical. If you don't have the right man at the top, first of all, you are going to struggle to get morale within the service itself up, right? You need an affable person, both within the police service to galvanize, somebody that they can all look up to and like, and want to work for and die for. Because really, that's what the police service is. You put your life literally on the line every day when you are instructed to go in. I mean, if you take the military away, the police do that too, of course, within the internal territories of Ghana. And often, if you don't have somebody at the helm that they feel comfortable with, especially when you have crime, a changing phase of crime, you're going to have a big challenge getting your officers and men with arms to go in and fight and put themselves in the line of in harm's way. If you have somebody like Dampare, as I know him, he's just a magnet, and his approach to things is quite different. So you deal with internal challenges with morale and motivation. And then you also deal with the second line, which is the citizens you have to work with. They see him, they see the way he talks. His humility is the thing that strikes you the most when you meet him. This is a PhD holder who says, I want to serve in I mean, let's be frank about this. The police service is not a service that is people hold in so much. It's a revered institution among the populace, right?
So people stand out.
Yes, it's the reason why we always say the military should take the lead, and people, because there's a certain respect that the police deserve, but they don't get. Right, and that has been an issue for so long that when you see the police officer, they just simply don't. They don't. Not, I want to say command. They've not done enough to earn it. Yeah. So when you have that sort of challenge, you definitely will need somebody who comes in with a certain humility to say, I understand what the problem is, and I'm going to work on that. There's a human relations there that is so important that he himself brings to this
conversation. And there are many instances in which he has demonstrated that quite actively. For example, when he was transferred to Winneba, to become the commandant of the Ghana Police Command and Staff College, it was a move that many people considered to be at best a demotion.
That's true.
Because he used to be the Greater Accra Regional Police Commander, a position in which he had actually chalked up several successes publicly. So it seemed hard to explain when he was moved to Winneba. But in his own comments, which he put in a statement, he thanked God Almighty for his guidance and protection during the 6 months that he had served as Accra Regional Police Commander. And he said this, and I quote him. He said, "It is in this regard that I wish to thank the police administration, officers and men within Accra." Forgive me, I've lost that. It just disappeared. Oh, here we are. Within Accra region and all stakeholders, including the media, civil society groups, religious groups, political parties, and the entire populace of the metropolis for their enormous contribution and cooperation for the entire police command during my tenure. Then he says, as I take up the new appointment, I will beseech all to continue to give same support to my successor and his team to keep Accra safe, especially during the upcoming election.
You know, when there was a review of a sort, some form of a structural, when we wanted to replace the outgoing IGP, David Asante appeared to, and this acting IGP came in and was extended, his period was extended.
Yeah.
When there was a review, and there was one point that was made about his operational capabilities. This was an area that people thought that Yonu was a better person when it comes to operations and leading some of these projects along the country and getting the confidence to be able to do the job properly. Now, if you see what he did in Accra and having gone through, and structurally, there are changes that we all expect of the police. One, the kind of people who are recruited in it should be professional enough. They should imbibe the human rights so that they do not trample on people's rights, and they should be able to do their work without any difficulties. He's been at a training school, so we'll be face to face in touch with what has happened there. He's been in charge of police welfare, which has come up after one of them was shot in the bullion van case, big time, about the kind of protection we provide for our police and the weaponry and the things that they get on the job. That's also another issue that he will deal with. General morale within the police ought to be beefed up too, mindful of what's happening within the space and what he's supposed to do. His credentials are pretty clear. He's not the kind of person that's going to run a police kind of state where brute force is used when it doesn't have to be used. And if you've heard him and how he believes that the operations of the police should be done, he believes in 21st century policing, where interactions, the police help the society and gets information from the society to be able to act on crime scenes and deal with them the way it's supposed to be. It is now a perfect time for him to put all of that into practice. And we have to watch keenly whether the very wonderful things he said about policing and the things that ought to be done in the 21st century can be translated into action. And whether or not he's going to do a major shake-up in the police setup to reflect his vision, because that's also one thing that's very much needed now. And how he's going to make up for what people have actually singled out as an area that he might not have a lot of expertise and competence. That's when it comes to actual operations on the ground. There are still a lot of things that ought to be unraveled in the course of the engagement about this man and how he's going to reform Ghana's police. Let's not forget, for a very long time, there's been systematic problems with the not only recruitment, but with the way police has been done in this country and how they acted on intelligence. Recently, the National not even National Reconciliation Commission, the IOS West World report singled out some of the important problems that are within the police structure that ought to be fixed. If the policeman will be seen as a man representing the nature and the caliber of Dampare, we would know in his tenure how he deals with that. But more importantly, it is how he's going to deal with authority, the executive of the republic. That's also very important. The expectation is that the police will be for all. In Ghana, the executive authority tend to have an overbearing influence on the police. How he, as a person who believes in people's rights and all of that, is going to be able to manage that would etch his name in gold and actually determine the kind of future that we have for our police setup. So he's coming at the right time, but it's a very challenging time too, to change the people's mind about what he can do, what he's able to develop, and going forward, how we can see the police differently.
Not so long ago, the Media Foundation for West Africa got together with the Ghana Police Service to set up a framework on police-media relations and the safety of journalists. COP Dr. Dampare played a very important role in that. It's an area of immense concern for him. I'm sure there are colleagues of ours who will be able to bear witness to the fact that when it came to the time when police protection was needed for them, COP Dampare stepped in to help arrange that protection.
Let's be clear. My very first time I met him was at an irregular place. It was at a music concert.
Oh.
Yeah. and I had not spoken to him, of course, on phone and on official way, but I've not spoken to him before. But the way he approached me and established familiar relations, I even told him that, no, your wife and my wife went to the same school and they are friends. I didn't know much about that. So it was down to earth, and I was a bit skeptical about a policeman in his position, competence, and qualification. Unlike what we've seen about his colleagues, which is very clear, some of them are downright arcane, some of them are very arrogant. You can't even approach them. And he's not a dismissive kind. Luckily, hopefully, his traits would transcend the police and transform it into the kind of policing we want going forward, and we'll be able to get the kind of interaction required in there. Let's also not forget that he's the one that they trust. You remember when an incident happened, and he's the gentleman who went around the country assuring the police who had been affected by one incident or the other that your welfare is important to us as a welfare lead. All of those incidents really made the people trust that we are going to have a man who's in charge of our welfare, who cares about what we're supposed to do in this office. And I'm hoping that all of that will translate into his work.
Well, gentlemen, if you're just joining us, we are expecting that Ghana's next IGP will be Dr. Dampare. We're expecting a formal statement on that in a short while. And so there's more on myjoyonline.com and subsequent bulletins that we will bring to you. Yes, Raymond?
I wanted to wrap up on the profile of Dr. George Kufu Dampare. And of course, I mean, he will be the youngest acting Inspector General of Police to be appointed in the Fourth Republic and the 8th youngest since Ghana's independence. Let's take note. In the Fourth Republic, he'll be the youngest acting IGP and the 8th youngest since independence, if you put him in there. In fact, he was deemed the most senior police officer after the just IGP retired. Now, Dr. Dampare joined the police service specifically in December 1990 at age 20.
Wow.
He joined at age 20 and he rose through the ranks to become Commissioner of Police. Now, 24 years later, and at 44 in 2014. So, after 24 years in the service, that's when he became the Commissioner of Police in 2014, a rank he has held until his current appointment. In 1991, when he completed his recruitment training, he was adjudged the overall best recruit at the National Police Training School and won all awards except the award for the best marksman. The guy who can shoot well. Yes. Again, in 1996, he emerged the overall best cadet for the 32nd Cadet Officers Course at the Ghana Police Academy and won all the awards, including excellence in professional police subjects and excellence in academic subjects. During his over 30-year career as a police officer, he's made significant contribution to policing and beyond, and some of them I will list quickly. At the leadership and management level, he had the rare privilege of serving as the head Director General of almost every major department, giving him experience across the board. Specifically, he has been Director General for Administration and Director General for Welfare twice. In fact, he also served as Director General for MTTD, which is what people have not referenced earlier, Director General for Research and Planning, and Director General for Operations, Director General for ICT, Director General for Finance, and Director General for National Patrol Department. That's the police visibility that we knew some time ago. So, I mean, I could go on and on about, but other leadership positions he previously held include the Police Command, that is the Staff and College, the Accra Police, Regional Police Commander, Regional Commander for Railways, Ports and Harbours, which is now the Marine Department anyway, and the Municipal Commander for Cape Coast, and the Chief Internal Auditor of the Ghana Police Service. Between the years of 2010 and 2015, under the leadership of two IGPs, that's Portavia Kwe and Mohammed Ahmed Al-Hassan, remember him, right? Dr. Dampare led and coordinated the National Anti-Armed Robbery Reward to Informant Initiative, which really structured how we give money to people who had informed us about what's supposed to happen in that space. And as the Director General for National Operations, he created an efficient system where fragmented units were consolidated to create effective rewards like the Combat Anti-Armed Robbery Unit, the Combat Unit, to aggressively fight robbery within the periods that we are talking about. And as regional commander, if you do recall, there was an initiative that he put together which was called the Proactive Policing Strategy, which later they called it the Continuous Stakeholder Engagement Program 2. And of course, in very, very capacities, I can talk about what he did as welfare chair too. Now, in charge of welfare, he introduced an innovative social welfare scheme where he led officers from the department to visit the homes of scores of sick and bedridden police officers, and those are the ones that were publicized a lot across the country, and also introduced the strategic medical interventions to facilitate their welfare. Now, you remember that there was this program of at both Dodowa and Kaswa. He reclaimed the lands owned and paid for by the police service, which was supposed to be for officers, and that had been encroached upon and had caused a lot of problem within the police and the relations with the citizens. The matter became a national security threat as many officers were angry at the failure of the leadership of the police administration to intervene in the situation, which had lasted for close to a decade. If I'm pushing it to 2013, under the leadership of the IGP at the time, Al Hassan Mohammed, Dr. Dampare led a team of officers working day and night to restructure the Armored Car Squadron, which are units within the formed police unit, within a record time of 10 weeks. The task has remained impossible for over 15 years, but he did that. He actually restructured that system. The FPU are now become one of the police main units, undertaking internal police operations and international peacekeeping missions within the United Nations and the AU. And maybe briefly on his role at the patrol department when it comes to the visibility departments too. The quick point is that Dr. Dampare supervised the implementation of the Novel Police Visibility Program, which saw the presence of police personnel at most intersections. I know that recently when there were some crime in some areas, people called for that police unit, the visibility program to be brought back.
That was his creation.
Very much so, yeah.
Maybe it's up to end on this. It's a message from a senior police officer who wishes to remain anonymous, but he says, Kojo, the appointment of COP Dr. Dampare puts the man fit for the job in the office at this point in time. The whole police body is jubilating now.
The whole police service is jubilating now, and it's expected. I mean, that is exactly what will happen. Listen, as we've been indicating, if you're just joining us and wondering what is it that we've been talking about, we've been talking about the what we expect now to be the next IGP, who will be confirmed shortly with a statement we understand from the Jubilee House. That is Dr. Akufu Dampare, who is going to be obviously our next IGP, and it comes at a time obviously when the police itself has come under some intense scrutiny. Indeed, it's something that we're following very closely. For you, go on to myjoyonline.com for additional details.
And maybe I chip in just the last one. We know that he was called by the president this morning, and that he was told he will be the next IGP. But for now, he had to act until the Council of State approves him.
Okay. Of course, details, all of that in our subsequent bulletins.
This is the Joy FM breaking news story.
Introducing new Super Yogo, a new fortified frozen yogurt from Fan Milk. Super Yogo contains vitamins and minerals good for your body and well-being, like vitamin B2 and B6, important for overall health and brain development, as well as assisting the body with energy production to keep you going all day long. And calcium for healthy bones and teeth.